Hey everyone, Jake Hart here, and man am I excited for this deep dive. We're going to be exploring some seriously mind-bending ideas about, well, human potential, that stuff that makes you wonder what we're really capable of. And to guide us, we've got the incredible Zara Moon with us.
Thanks for having me, Jake. Excited to dig into all this with you.
So to really blow the roof off what we think we know, we're diving into the work of Gregg Braden. You might know him. He's a five-time New York Times best-selling author, scientist too. But what's really cool is he's not afraid to bridge science and spirituality.
Yeah, and what's fascinating about Gregg Braden, he doesn't just talk the talk. This guy has spent over 45 years in the field, working with everyone. I mean, Fortune 500 companies, the United Nations, even the U.S. military.
No kidding. I heard he's even journeyed to some of the most remote places on Earth, like studying with monks and shamans.
Exactly. It's like he's on a quest for that ancient wisdom, right? The stuff passed down for centuries, hidden in traditions that, well, science is just starting to understand.
That's what I love about this deep dive. It's not just learning stuff. It's like unlocking something new about ourselves.
Yeah.
About the universe. So get ready, because Gregg Braden takes us deep, especially into the human heart. And not just as a pump, but as a source of intelligence and memory.
And hold on, it's not just theory. Gregg Braden brings in practical techniques and real-life stories. You'll see, this ancient wisdom, it might just hold the keys to activating our potential.
All right, let's get into it. Braden starts by describing the human body. 50 trillion cells, right?
And here's where it gets crazy. Each cell is like its own tiny power plant, generating electrical potential. In fact, if you add it all up, the total electrical potential in our bodies, it's more than a lightning bolt.
Oh, whoa, whoa, more than a lightning bolt. Are you serious?
Dead serious. And get this, each cell emits light, photons, which actually carry information. We're constantly broadcasting, receiving on a cellular level, those vibes we pick up. Not just a feeling, there's a real phenomenon there.
So we're all walking antennas, sending and receiving signals all the time. I've always wondered about that, energy fields and stuff. Maybe there's more to it than intuition.
You got it. And that leads us to one of Braden's big ideas, the intelligence of the heart. We all know it's vital, but what if it's more than just a pump?
Okay, I'm all ears.
Well, picture this. 1991, scientists discover something that shakes things up, a neural network in the human heart.
Hold up, a neural network? Like a brain in the heart?
Exactly. It's got its own network of neurons, neurotransmitters, its own nervous system.
So you mean the heart doesn't just pump blood, it thinks, feels, remembers all on its own?
That's what the research suggests, yeah. Processing information even has its own type of memory.
This is blowing my mind. What kind of information is the heart even processing? And how does this heart-brain work with the one in our head?
That's where things get really interesting. Braden calls this heart-brain coherence, like two systems syncing up, becoming one super system.
So it's not heart versus head, it's about them working together, right?
Yeah.
But how do we achieve this coherence thing? Is it something we can learn? Or does it just happen?
Good news. There are techniques to cultivate this coherence. The HeartMath Institute, they've been researching this for ages, and they've got this method, super simple, just 3 steps.
3 steps. Okay, I'm intrigued.
First step, focus on your heart. Like literally bring your attention to it. Feel it, almost like you're breathing into your heart.
Okay, focus on the heart. Got it. What's next?
Adjust your breathing, slow it down, make your exhale longer than your inhale.
So the rhythm matters, not just taking deep breaths. I can see how that would calm me down. What's the last step?
This one's powerful. Cultivate a positive feeling. Think of something that brings you genuine joy, love, gratitude, you name it. The key is you're choosing this feeling, not waiting for something to happen to make you feel good.
Intentionally changing our emotional state makes sense. But why is this heart-brain coherence such a big deal? What's in it for us?
Well, the research is pretty amazing. Heart-brain coherence, it can boost your immune system, activate longevity enzymes, even relieve stress at a molecular level. And get this, it can happen in as little as 3 minutes.
3 minutes? You're kidding me. I gotta try this.
You should. It's a powerful tool for our well-being, for reaching our potential. And speaking of potential, this brings us to another cool thing Braden talks about, cellular memory.
I've heard that term, but not sure what it means. Do our cells have little brains storing memories?
It's a little more complex than that, but the idea is our cells hold memories, experiences that can impact us in huge ways.
So our whole body could store memories, not just the brain. That's wild.
It is, and there are some crazy stories that suggest this might be true. Braden talks about this teenage girl, she got a heart transplant.
Okay, a heart transplant. How's that connected to memory?
Well, after the transplant, she starts having these vivid nightmares. Turns out they weren't just random, they were memories from the donor, the person whose heart she received.
No way. Actual memories from another person.
Yep. And the details were so clear, they actually helped solve the donor's murder.
You're kidding me. That's incredible and kind of creepy, if I'm honest.
It definitely challenges how we think about memory and consciousness. What if memories aren't just in our brains, but in our hearts, or even deeper, woven into who we are?
So many questions. Like, if the heart has memories, what does that say about us? And how's that linked to heart intelligence?
Those are great questions. And those questions lead us deeper into Gregg Braden's work. If the heart holds memories, what else might be connected beyond our physical understanding?
Tell me more.
This is where Gregg Braden introduces the idea of the field of infinite potential. Imagine a field of energy connecting everything beyond space and time as we know them.
Wait, like the Force? Like in Star Wars, that kind of energy field.
You think it that way, but maybe a better analogy is the internet. Everything's linked, right? Information travels instantly across huge distances. The field of infinite potential, it's similar, a web connecting everything in the universe.
Okay, I think I get it. But is there any proof of this field? It sounds a little out there.
There is, and it's mind-blowing. Ever heard of the twin photon experiment?
Maybe, vaguely. Remind me.
So scientists take a photon, split it into two identical ones, then they send them miles apart through fiber optic cables.
Okay, then what?
Whatever they did to one photon, the other one reacted instantly, like they were still connected, even though they were miles apart.
Whoa, hold on. Wouldn't that mean information's traveling faster than light?
Yeah, it defies physics as we know it, suggests a connection we're just starting to grasp.
So you're saying this experiment supports Braden's idea of a field connecting everything?
It definitely supports the idea that we're all linked in ways we can't even imagine, and it opens up possibilities for understanding intuition, precognition, even prayer.
This is getting deep. If we're all connected, what does that mean for our lives? Does it change how we should live, how we interact with each other?
That's the big question, isn't it? One we'll explore further as we keep diving into Gregg Braden's work. But for now, let's pause here. Listeners, what stands out to you so far? What resonates?
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Join us for part 2, where we'll keep unraveling these mysteries and explore how we can tap into this potential within us.
Hey, if you got this far in the podcast, we are guessing you are still interested in this topic with Gregg Braden. Would you be so kind as to like and subscribe to this channel to help us grow and give you more interesting Mystic Podcast cruise stories? And now, back to our program.
Back to our deep dive into Gregg Braden's world.
It's been a wild ride so far, this whole idea of the heart's intelligence, the field connecting everything, just wow.
Right, and we're just getting started. This part, we're going to explore visualization.
Okay, visualization, you mean like that power of positive thinking stuff. Honestly, I'm a bit skeptical. Like, how can imagining something actually change things?
Get ready to be surprised. Braden talks about mirror neurons, those cells in our brains that fire not just when we do something, but also when we watch, or even just imagine it.
Wait, so you're saying if I picture myself doing something, my brain reacts like I'm actually doing it?
Exactly. It's backed by science. There was this study, people visualizing a physical action, their brain activity was the same as if they were really doing it.
So the brain doesn't know the difference between imagining and reality. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But how does that work in everyday life? If I visualize $1 million, it's not just going to appear, right?
Not quite that simple, no. But think about it. What we feed our minds, it matters. Are we visualizing health, abundance? Or are we stuck on fear, negativity?
I see what you mean. Like if we're constantly seeing negative stuff, it's going to affect us, maybe even create more negativity.
Exactly. Those thoughts, those feelings, they create an energy, a vibration that interacts with that field of infinite potential we talked about.
So to create a positive reality, we got to start by changing our thoughts, visualizing what we want.
Like planting seeds, Jake. Plant seeds of fear, doubt, that's what'll grow. But plant love, joy, abundance, that's what you'll harvest.
Makes sense. But how do we make sure our visualizations actually work? Is there a right way to do it?
This is where that heart-brain coherence comes in again. Remember those 3 steps. Shifting focus to the heart, slowing the breath, cultivating a positive feeling.
Yeah, those 3 steps. Seems so simple, but now I get how powerful they could be.
When we're in that coherent state, visualizations become supercharged because we're aligning everything, thoughts, feelings, energy, with that field of infinite potential.
So it's not just seeing the image, it's about feeling it in our hearts, bringing in emotion.
Exactly. The heart speaks the language of emotion. The more feeling you put into it, the stronger the signal you send out.
So, like, if I want to attract abundance, it's not enough to just picture money in the bank.
Right. Visualize yourself living that abundant life. Feel the joy, the gratitude. Engage all your senses. What does it look like, sound like, feel like?
Now you're talking.
Hmm.
I know Braden himself has had a pretty amazing life, right?
Yeah, his story is incredible. Had a really rough childhood, grew up in an abusive, alcoholic family, left home at 14.
Wow, that's tough. What turned things around for him? How did he get into this whole human potential thing?
There's this story about his mom giving him The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. There's a quote, "Work is love made visible." Really stuck with him.
Beautiful quote.
Yeah.
How did that affect Braden?
Became a guiding principle. He realized even ordinary tasks, you can infuse them with love, purpose. It's not what you do, but how you do it.
Like that story of him working in a factory lifting those heavy bags of pet food.
That's the one. His coworker hated it, but Braden, he saw it as his love made visible. Got a workout, helped provide for his family.
That's powerful, finding meaning in the everyday stuff.
Yeah.
But how did that lead him to all this work on the heart, on human potential?
Here's where it gets kind of mystical. Braden had this strong, intuitive feeling like he had to call his dad, even though their relationship was strained.
Did he call him?
He did, and during the call, his dad called him son for the first time ever. Really deep, healing moment.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then his dad passed away the very next day.
Oh, wow. So he got that moment of connection just in time.
For Braden, that confirmed it. The heart knows. It guides us in ways our minds can't always grasp.
Sometimes the biggest truths, you got to feel them, not just think them. So this human technology Braden talks about.
Right, these abilities we have that go way beyond what we usually acknowledge.
Right.
What if we have the power to heal ourselves, to access deep intuition? It's all within us. Just got to activate it.
Like we've gotten so used to relying on gadgets, we've forgotten our own power. But how do we tap into that? Is it something we've lost, or is it still there, waiting?
That's the question, isn't it? And one we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive. But for now, think about this. What if the key to our potential isn't some futuristic tech, but remembering the wisdom that's already inside us? Welcome back to our deep dive. It's been pretty intense, hasn't it?
No kidding. I feel like my brain's doing backflips trying to wrap around all this.
And yet there's still more to explore. In this last part, I think it's time to tie everything together. How do we actually unlock this superhuman potential Braden talks about?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? It's all well and good to talk about heart intelligence and fields and stuff, but how do we actually apply it to our lives?
Well, remember how Braden described those two emerging societies? One embracing every new technology, the other going back to a simpler, more nature-based life.
Yeah, like that classic sci-fi trope, right?
Was good.
City folks versus the ones who've gone off the grid.
Exactly, and it's happening in our world right now, isn't it? But here's the thing. It's not a new idea. It's ancient wisdom, the balance between material and spiritual. Like that yin and yang concept, opposites, but connected.
So how do we find that balance? Do we have to choose tech or nature? Or is there a way to have both?
$1 million question, Jake. And Braden's answer is pretty radical. He says, we are the technology we're looking for. We have these abilities, but we've forgotten how to use them.
It's like we're so obsessed with our gadgets, we've ignored the most powerful one of all, our own selves.
Right. We've outsourced our power and lost touch with our true potential. Braden's big on self-regulation. Remember, boosting our immune system, healing, intuition, it's all inbuilt.
Yeah, it's not superpowers, it's human powers. If we could just remember how to turn them on.
And remember those 3 steps for getting that heart-brain coherence going.
Focus on the heart. Slow the breathing. Find a positive feeling. Simple, but man, they pack a punch.
It's science, Jake. When we're in that coherent state, our visualizations get stronger, our creativity flows, our intuition sharpens. It's like a system upgrade for the whole being.
And when that happens, we see the world differently, right? We
Yeah.
handle stuff better because we're not just reacting, we're responding from a place of inner strength.
It's taking back our power to create the life we want, to be who we truly are.
So what's it all about then? Living this superhuman life. Does that mean we'll be like reading minds and flying around?
Not quite. It's about living with purpose, finding meaning, connecting deeply with Well, everything. It's expressing our gifts, making a difference. It's about growing, becoming the best version of ourselves.
And it starts small, right? Listening to our hearts, embracing who we are, tapping into that power within. This whole deep dive has been eye-opening. It's changed how I think about what it means to be human.
It's just the beginning, Jake. We've only scratched the surface here. There's so much more to discover about this human potential thing.
Listeners, don't stop here. Keep exploring Gregg Braden's work and others who are shining a light on this path. Remember, you hold the power. All you got to do is unlock it. Until next time, keep diving deep into the mysteries of being human. See ya.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Mystic Podcast Cruise. If you enjoyed today's story, give this video a thumbs up and share it with others who love uncovering life's mysteries. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Your support helps us continue bringing you captivating stories about the unknown, the mystical, and the extraordinary. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and keep cruising through the mysteries of life with us here on Mystic Podcast Cruise.